Mike, hey, congratulations for The Way Out.
Thank you very much.
It is a fascinating story. So tell us, what initially drew you to this film for The Way Out?
Yeah. So I heard about the script through a friend of mine, Nick Thurr, and he's a producer on this film. He and I worked together on a film called Slapface, and that's the poster right behind me. And he's just a good friend of mine. He found this script and he brought it to me, and we started. I gave him notes, and I said, "This is interesting. These are my notes. I don't really have the bandwidth right now, but here you go, and good luck, just as a friend, sort of thing." And he came back to me 6 months later with a new version of the script, and the director Barry, who also wrote it, uh, said, "Hey, Mike, and by the way, I want you to play Shane." And I read the script, and it was so good in terms of the truth behind the abuse and the trauma, and then also combining that with the fun of escapism and the extreme violence and everything else, and it scared me. And because it scared me, I was like, I really want to make this happen.
It was pretty scary, especially how you played Shane. Was it hard to get in that mindset, and was it easy to turn it off?
Uh, yes and no. There were plenty of times on set where we would finish a scene and my stomach would hurt just because it was so intense. Or we would have a scene coming up the next day and I wasn't able to sleep just because I was so nervous and worried about either the violence or the emotion that we had to sort of get. I made a promise to myself when I agreed to do this film, because it's a different role than really I've ever done before. Usually I'm the boyfriend or the guy next door, or the nice guy or the funny guy or whatever. It's I it's rare that I am offered roles that are like this, that are so extreme and so wicked. And I made a promise to myself. I said, if I accept this role, I, at the end of the movie, I need the audience to know where that violence comes from. I need to be able to show the hurt and the pain and the heartbreak underneath it all, so that he's relatable, and that so that he's not just a two-dimensional villain. And I think that's what I did.
So, how did Barry prepare you for the physicality of your role?
Well, Barry just gave me the script and said, "I trust you with it." And but how I prepared for that was, um, I gained 13 pounds. I as soon as I accepted the role, the next day I started. I doubled my protein. I doubled my workouts. I signed up for boxing classes. So for 3 months leading up to filming, I took boxing classes several times a week. Because to your point, the physicality is such an important, and his physical presence is such an important part of the character, and a lot of the aspects of the character don't really make sense unless he has this really physical presence. So that was like the first thing that I jumped into. And then with Barry on the emotional side, Barry, it was so great to work with Barry because a lot of this is loosely based on abuse that he himself experienced. And I asked if I could mention this, and he said yes. So he had experienced some of this abuse as a child. And so he and I had a lot of very honest, open conversations about, what did you feel like when this happened? What were some of these things? What were some of these things? And so he was a well of knowledge that I could just sort of go to and bounce ideas off of, and really talk through some of the more intense scenes, to prepare on the emotional side.
Well, I had no idea that Barry actually went through something like this. This must have been back of your mind as you're playing the part of Shane.
Absolutely. It is, because in my mind, the two characters in the film, Shane, my character, and then Alex, played by Johnny Bouchamp, uh, they both were abused when they were kids. And then at one point in their lives, there's a fork in the road somewhere, and things branch off. And Alex, Johnny's character, starts to abuse himself and hurt himself. So he was abused and he hurts himself. Shane, my character, was abused and he hurts the world. At
Mm.
some point in that fork in the road, he started learning how to stand up for himself and in very extreme ways, and he started training and boxing and fighting and all these things. And so in his mind, Shane gets back at all the abuse by hurting the world and hurting other people that have abused people. And so and 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 so Barry Barry's like an amalgamation of both. You know, Barry has worked very, very hard himself to escape what he experienced as a child, and now he's, you know, a well-adjusted, successful, brilliant businessman. He's Barry from Barry's Boot Camp, the gym franchise that is really successful in California and in other states. And so, you know, he is a success story. And so that's part of the message of the film is like your abuse doesn't define you. You can work through it and you can still become the person that you've always wanted to be. At the same time, don't ignore it, face it, and talk to people about it and work through it, or else it will manifest itself in you in really bad habits like drugs, alcohol, or abusing other people. So it's sort of like a cautionary tale and a success story at the same time.
That's that's interesting because I guess Barry's lessons from his boot camps still translates into a film like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So in the vigilante scenes, was that tough for you, especially I don't want to spoil it away, but trying to take out that bring out that aggression.
yeah. I mean, I think in my mind, like hurt people. And so, in order to do justice to those scenes and to show the aggression and the violence and almost the mercilessness that Shane has towards some of these people, um, I had to really live in the pain first so that it sort of scarred over and calloused over, and then I was ready to be aggressive. And our stunt coordinator, his name is Mac Kerr. I also worked with him on Slapface, and he was fantastic. He's Keanu Reeves's stunt double in the John Wick movies, and he looks and he sounds just like Keanu Reeves. It's kind of bizarre, but he was really, really good in creating a safe space that made everybody feel like we had a safety net beneath us and that we could go to those extremes and we could, he choreographed an action sequence, a fight sequence is almost like a dance, right? So it's like you move one way, somebody moves another way, and you have to sort of get into the rhythm. And he was really, really good at choreographing all of these action sequences so that we felt safe. And then when you feel safe, then you can take risks and go for it. And Johnny and I did that. And even with Ashley Murray, she was fantastic in the film. She and Johnny had worked together on the Katie Keene series. That was on the CW, and so they were already friends, and so their chemistry is fantastic. And then working with Sherry Shepard was great. I mean, Sherry was in Precious, and she was fantastic, but Sherry's sort of known for like 30 Rock and some of these more comedic roles, and to see Sherry really go for it with the sort of the meaty pain of some of these scenes was really cool to see. So I'm really happy with the way things turned out.
So how did you develop that chemistry with Johnny? Because between Alex and Shane, I felt like Shane was trying to mold Alex into something both physically, which we see a lot, but also mentally, like both the LGBT themes in the film.
Yeah, well, I think on the Shane side, Shane uses whatever he can to get what he wants. So whether that's using seduction or intimidation or whatever, and that's why I was saying like the physical part of it, working out and gaining muscle for the role was so important to that aspect. And then for me, Mike and Johnny, for our chemistry, it was actually funny. So we shot in upstate New York, and so Johnny lives in the city, so he drove up, I think, and then he took the train, and then I flew out there, and we were in this like hotel. We were in the same hotel building for the duration of shooting. So we got a lot of time to become friends and hang out when we weren't working. And we went to the gym a lot. And at the gym, I love working out. Physical fitness is really a part of my life. And so I would go to the gym, and Johnny and I would work out, and I would sometimes yell at him, and I'm like, all right, come on, lift more, do this, do that, do that. And I almost saw him as like a little brother. And when it came to the physical aspect of things and the working out and everything. And so it was nice because I mean, Johnny's a smart guy, and he knew exactly what was going on between the two of us, building that type of chemistry and building that relationship. And so by the time when we got on set and I was bossing him around and saying, lift more and do this and do that, it came from such a natural place because we had already started treating each other like that off of set.
Well, that's terrific. That is terrific. Now we know that you have done so many various roles, and this one was a special, different role for you. You want more roles like this, or do you want to go back to what you're used to?
Yeah, I that's a good question. I think I continuously want to push myself with every role that I accept. Whether it's physically or emotionally or mentally I really want to, because that's why we do what we do, right? We play in the sandbox with other people, and then we jump to another sandbox and play with a different group, and we join a different world and try to be a puzzle piece in a different puzzle. And so of course I want to continue doing projects that are going to challenge me and I can really mold myself to. Um, but that might not necessarily be physical roles. I don't know how people, I mean, I consider myself to be in good shape. I don't know how people maintain. As soon as the film ended, I went back to my normal diet and I lost a lot of that muscle uh, right away, just because it's a lot to maintain. And so I would be very scared if I had to maintain that for, say, a show where I had to be like that the entire time. That would require a lot of eating, a lot of working out. I would have to change my entire lifestyle. So maybe not Shane, maybe not Shane again for a while. But I am actively looking this year for more physical roles, whether that's like military or law enforcement or roles where I can use physicality. I'm a very physical actor, and it also helps me get out of my head and just stay present. So whether it's action movies or adventure movies or TV series, like I said, that I'm able to play some of those more physical roles. That's definitely what I'm looking forward to doing more of this year.
Wow, that is terrific. Hypothetically, I'm amazed on how actors do the body transformations to get into those roles. I mean, would you ever do the opposite? Sort of like like how Christian Bale would immediately gain, 30, 40 pounds or lose 30, 40 pounds, or what's his name for the whale, for example, who
Yeah, yeah, Brendan Fraser.
Fraser.
If I'm being honest, I don't know if I would go as far as Brendan Fraser. I mean, he completely transformed himself in that way for that movie, and I mean, and he just won the Critics' Choice Award last night. So clearly, it worked for him, and he's getting recognized for it, and that's amazing because I think Brendan Fraser is a great actor. Um, but I personally don't know if I'm at the point right now where I would go that far. But Christian Bale, I mean, losing all that weight for was the Machinist,
Yeah,
and then I mean everything he's done, it feels like he transforms himself. Um, I think I could do that to a certain extent, and I think I would like to do that. I think I would love to. The more that I can sort of change my physical body, the more it helps me sort of wear the skin of that character more completely and discover more things about that character. So, yeah, I would love to continue to do that. Just maybe not to the extreme that they do, because I mean, those are the two examples you came up with about extreme measures. There are
yeah.
plenty of other actors that live somewhere in the middle that changing their physical appearance helps them. It's just not to those extremes. So I think I would like to live in that a little bit.
Most excellent, most excellent. Well, let me wrap it up. Can you talk about some of your future projects right now, Mike?
Yeah, so I have a friend of mine, Leah McKendrick, is an amazing writer director. She just directed her first feature, and it will be premiering at South by Southwest called Scrambled. So I'm going to be there at South by. I also have a movie called Powder Pup that I wrote and produced. That is a snowboarding dog movie, and we wrapped that last year in Montana, and that's going to be coming out, and that's really exciting. And there's the Nana project that I shot. I have a handful of projects that are all coming out this year, and I'm really excited about. So if people are curious, they can just go to mikemanning.info or follow me on social media, and I'll be posting as those things sort of are announced.
Well, it sounds like you're keeping busy. Well, Mike, hey, thank you very much for carrying this conversation with us. Looking forward to more of your projects down the road.
Thank you. And gig, right? Am I saying that right? Is it?
All right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Next time.